Hey everybody, my name is Valentino, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Guy Valentino, the Transformational Coach. The title of today's episode is How to Overcome Trauma and Become the Best Version of Yourself. Let me begin by asking you a question. Have you ever felt trapped by your past? Now, what if I told you that overcoming trauma is possible? For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Guy Valentino, soon-to-be published author, motivational speaker, combat Marine veteran, CrossFit owner, and personal trainer. My mission is to help people overcome trauma and become the best version of themselves. So let's get right to it. The purpose of this video is to give you the tools to start change. Now, the catalyst for change happens first in your mind. It's working on yourself, beginning with your trauma first, so that you can feel victorious and remove yourself from its grip. So, what is trauma? Trauma is a psychological response. Time. 3, 2, 1. So what is trauma? Trauma is a psychological response to an event or series of events that are deeply distressing or disturbing, often overwhelming individuals' ability to cope. Here are some examples: PTSD, depression, anxiety disorders, disassociation, substance abuse, interpersonal issues. I feel like I've had all of those. So I know that some of you can relate, just like I can, to some or maybe all of these. As a Marine veteran, I've experienced firsthand the damaging effects of PTSD. I almost committed suicide 4 times since leaving the Marine Corps. I'm divorced and I'm rebuilding my life. I blamed everyone for my problems, but the problem was me. My turning point? Well, my beloved bride, Melissa Gibson. I was on the phone. I'm about to lose my mind. I had the gun to my head, and she said to me in the darkness of my moments, "Who's gonna walk your daughter down the aisle?" And it stopped me dead in my tracks. I put the gun down, and I thought of what it was to be a Marine, to take charge of this post and all government property in view. And then our 5th general order is to quit my post only when properly relieved. I hadn't been properly relieved because I wasn't allowing a man to come into my daughter's life without my acknowledgement. I was trying to take the easy way out. And I realized that you never make a permanent decision on a temporary problem. And so I started to rebuild my life. From that moment, it was a turning point. I felt like I just woke up. And I discovered these things as I was meditating and trying to turn my life around, really. And what I discovered is that there are 3 things a person must do to change. Number 1, you've got to change playgrounds. What are your playgrounds? It's the places that you go, your social network of influence. When you go to these places, they do have an effect on you. So let's just say for one of them, you go to a bar and then you start to drink there, and you start to hang around the wrong crowd, and then you start making decisions that you end up regretting later. Well, that's not a good playground. So if you want to change, you got to change playgrounds. Number 2, you got to change play toys. These are things that you handle with your eyes, what you read, what you listen to, what you think about, what you put in your mouth, what you put in your body. And so playgrounds can sometimes intermingle with play toys. And these toxic environments only push you further away from being the best version of yourself. So number 2, if you're trying to change your life, you got to change your play toys. Number 3, the next thing you have to do is you have to change your play friends. My father used to tell me when I was growing up, "Tell me who your friends are, son, and I'll tell you who you are." Your friends that you hang around with have the power to influence you to negative things. And if you hang around a bunch of drug dealers, most likely you're going to start slinging drugs. Why would you do that to yourself? You put yourself in a bad position and you end up going down the wrong path. What about your friends? Maybe you're a teenager and you're watching this and you're like, "Well, all my friends are having premarital sex and it just feels like it's the right thing to do." But then afterwards you feel guilty because you never really feel loved, you feel used. You put yourself in a bad position because the person that's right for you is going to love you for who you are and not just for a fleeting moment. So if a person wants to change, they've got to change playgrounds, play toys, and play friends. And with that, you have to replace it with something. And these 4 things is what you must build yourself up with. Your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your spiritual fitness, your connection to God, and your financial fitness. How do these 4 areas impact our lives? Well, they impact our lives pretty greatly. Your physical fitness gives you the motivation, the drive to handle the stresses that you're under. If you are eating at McDonald's every single day, and then you feel depressed about how you look, so you eat more McDonald's, and then you feel like committing suicide because you don't like the way you look, well, you need to work on your physical fitness. Research shows that a person that increases their physical activity has a greater desire for good things. And not only that, there's a small part of your brain called the hippocampus, and it's like a muscle. It's the center hub for all your mood control and your serotonin and your dopamine. So the more that you work out, the better you feel about yourself. Simply saying. Number 2, your mental fitness. You've got to talk to people. You can't just deal with your depression by yourself or your anxiety. One of the telltale signs for depression or anxiety is isolation. If you don't feel like hanging out with anybody, well, it's probably not a good place to be. Now, you notice that my screen is black and my shirt is black, and perhaps this conversation is a little dark, but that's okay, because I'm trying to help you overcome your own trauma, your own depression. And I'm telling you, as a person that has lived it with a gun to my head, I needed to work on my own mindset. See, your thoughts are seeds, and whatever you think becomes an action. There's a saying by Walter Emerson that says, if you sow a thought, you reap an action. If you sow an action, you reap a habit. If you sow a habit, you reap a character. And you sow your character, you reap a destiny. My mother and father, it's taken them 76 years to finally be at peace. And these are the things that I've shown them. And it's hard as a kid when you watch your parents not able to figure it out. But I know what that's like. And maybe this is for you. Maybe there's somebody watching this video right now and you don't have any answers for your depression and you feel stuck. You just want somebody to help you. That's why I created this video. I'm talking to you. You can become unstuck by planting good things in your head. They're seeds. If you talk about negative things or you talk about your problems all the time, you're only going to increase the visibility of those things, because it's called a frequency bias. The more that I think about it, the more that I see it in my life. You got to start with that positive motivation, that positive self-affirmation every single day. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do anything I put my mind to. I am handsome. I am strong. I am valuable. I am pretty. Whoever the subject may be, talk to yourself and say good things about yourself. The third thing is spiritual fitness. If you don't have a connection with God, then maybe you need to find a network of people. Possibly it's a church. Maybe it's a home group. Maybe it's just a group of friends and you guys are just getting around together and meditating. But there is that connection to a higher power. What does it do? It gives us hope. They did a research on 18 wharf rats. And the 18 wharf rats, And the study was the hopeless theory. Sounds kind of morbid, but the hopeless theory is simply this. They put them in a bucket of water, and then these little guys are trying to swim, and I can't swim. And they end up drowning in 15 minutes. So they took another set of 18 wharf rats, and they pulled them out just before they drown. They put them back in the cage. They feed them. They keep them warm for 3 days. And then they put them back in the bucket of water, and they observed. And you know what happened? They swam for nearly 24 hours. What did they discover in this hopeless theory? Well, they discovered this. If the people around you are drowning, you're most likely to drown. But if the people around you are thriving and pushing, then you're likely to push harder and keep on holding on. So it's important that you have that vertical connection to hope. So when things get really tough, just as the Bible tells us, that He is a rock that is higher than I, that we could reach for Him for shelter, that when the storms come, think about if you're an alcoholic and you're spending $600 to $1,000 a month on alcohol, you're really tearing down your framework of your own livelihood. You're working just to consume something that's pulling you away from being the best version of yourself. You have to cut out that negativity. And it could be a person, it could be a thing, it could be a substance. Whatever that is, you want to remove it. There's a saying in Hawaii, coined by King Kamehameha, about balance. It's called lokahi ola. And what lokahi ola, it means balanced lifestyle. That whatever you do to the mind, you do to the body, you do to the soul. And so there's this thing called reciprocal efficacy. And so if you're trying to overcome your own trauma and become the best version of yourself, you've got to change 3 things. You got to change playgrounds, play toys, and play friends. And then you've got to work on 4 areas of your life. And those 4 areas are your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your spiritual fitness, and your financial fitness. Guys, I'd love to hear your comments on the description below and the spaces below. So please tell me what you think about this video. If you like more of these videos and what you've heard today, please hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. And I'm even open to any topics that you guys would like to hear more about. And this is the Guy Valentino, the Transformational Coach. Have a blessed day.